Emily, are you wearing the same shirt as me?
We did it again.
Oh, man. Welcome to What's the T in L&E. I'm Leah.
I'm Emily.
And we are management side employment attorneys with Rogers Vandeventer Black in Richmond, Virginia. Emily, what are we talking about today? What's the T?
The T is a bunch of acronym soup, Leah. We've got the EEOC and DOL executing an MOU.
Ooh, that's a mouthful. So for those of you who don't know, EEOC, that's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and that's the federal agency that really carries out our civil rights laws or the enforcement thereof. So talk about discrimination and harassment in the workplace. You also got Department of Labor. Department of Labor is sort of your oversight federal agency that handles wage and hour compliance, OSHA compliance, even family medical leave compliance.
And an MOU is Memorandum of Understanding.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the DOL and the EEOC have formalized some processes, which includes formalized information sharing with each other. This includes coordinated investigations and enforcement, and it also includes some joint training and outreach. Leah, what do you think that will look like in practical application?
That's a really good question. We don't know for certain, but I'm imagining a scenario where, let's say, an employee goes to EEOC and says, hey, I've been discriminated against on the basis of my gender. My employer keeps assigning all the women to stay late and work long hours on the weekend. And on top of that, they're not paying us overtime fairly. Well, right there, you've hit on two different triggers for two different jurisdictions. You've got a discrimination concern that falls under EEOC, and then a wage and hour concern, an overtime concern under Department of Labor. And so that's when EEOC might say, hey, let's bring DOL involved, get DOL involved.
Absolutely. So what I'm hearing is that this makes compliance with federal labor and employment laws ever more important, and it also makes it very important to get legal counsel involved quickly if you do receive a complaint.
Yeah, even if you don't receive necessarily a complaint from DOL or from EEOC, and just an internal complaint from an employee, you want to make sure you're taking a holistic approach to addressing it. Before you let an employee go, for instance, make sure, hey, just ask yourself, do we really feel like we paid them fairly? Because if they go and they file that complaint, as Emily talked about, this might turn into a much bigger deal than you're originally thinking. And keep in mind too that federal wage and hour investigators and EEOC investigators can come on site at any time without advance notice.
Well, thank you for joining us today for another What's the Tea episode.